Line up, you fucking nerds. Who wants a shot at the champ?
They bring the heat.
Francis Ngannou is the hardest puncher in the history of fighting.
They bring the knowledge.
If you think this fight is going 5 rounds, you are out of your mind.
They bring you the picks.
The dog is getting it done in this one.
We deliver every single week. We're bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
The money line.
Don't miss it on the MMA Experts channel each week. Money line. We are live with the special Wednesday edition of the show. Looking forward. Huh?
Why Wednesday, AJ? What's going on?
Why Wednesday? It was the Finch's birthday and it was also Labor Day. It worked out better to throw it down on a beautiful Wednesday as opposed to the Monday show. So I'm glad that we bring in the heat. Doesn't matter what day of the week, as long as we're here, man.
Hey, happy Memorial Day. Excuse me, Labor Day. Memorial Day. I get it mixed up. Always, my whole life. Labor Day to everybody. For me, I was turning 31 years old. You want to see what my mom got me, AJ?
Yeah,
are you ready for this?
Yeah.
She wants me to actually sing you guys that song at the end, the parlay time. I think we're gonna have to really put it down, AJ. So shout out to mom.
Shout out to Mrs. Finch.
31. Okay.
That's great, man. That's great. Happy birthday, bro. I'm glad, man. 31, looking the best he's ever looked. He's in his prime.
You think so? Thank you, man. My wife says, I could work out a little bit better with the diet, maybe. I don't know. AJ gets lean for those cuts, man. AJ, when's the bodybuilding show, buddy?
Yeah, you know what, man? I'll say this. Doing a calorie restrictive diet to a certain point takes a negative effect on your personality because it just drains you a bit, And with the content, I actually notice when I'm in a significant long-term deficit, I think that my picks are a little worse. I think that my emotions are a little bit short fusey. I get irritable on the show. But if I'm getting trolled in the chat now, I'm laughing at it. I'm having fun with it versus when I'm fucking leaned out, dialed in, I'm getting fucking fumed a little bit. So yeah, if you guys want to fucking get under my skin when I'm cutting, make sure to pick on me.
Same thing for fighters, brother. Fact. A couple weeks out from the fight, you're not eating everything you want to eat. You're dealing with that injury that's been bugging you. Shit gets stressful for sure, So any spouse or any opposite of a fighter could definitely tell you that there are some tough days. So yeah, it goes hand in hand with one person sacrificing a lot, right?
Yeah, I agree, man. But bodybuilding.
I don't do that shit no more. You guys always want me to fight. I just ate freaking L&L Hawaiian barbecue. I'm happy as shit. I've got an ice cream birthday cake in there I'm supposed to eat the whole cake. Life's good when you don't have to make a weight class.
You know who's doing it right? Who's doing it right? The heavyweights are doing it right. The heavyweights are doing it right. They're enjoying themselves.
Got it. Hit the weight room, folks. Get up to heavyweight. That way you don't got to cut. Hey, AJ, were there fights last Saturday?
There were fights.
You ever heard of this guy?
Listen, he really fucking jumped off the page because everybody thought that after the Jones fight, his grappling defense was suspect as hell. And I mean, granted, the Jones fight, it looked like it. We thought Spivak couldn't get a hold of him. The footwork, the speed of Gane kept him upright, and he beat up Sergey Spivak into, second round stoppage. Something about Cyril Gane that I've seen as a criticism, and I'll agree that it's fair, is he doesn't throw crazy power, right? And it's not that I don't think he has the capability of landing shots with a lot of power. He's not one of your heavyweights that is going to sit on his shots and look to load up and really put all his weight into it. Instead, he's light-footed and he's tapping you with so many strikes, ends up leading to, brutal standing TKO wins when your opponents are just getting pulverized continuously. I like the performance by Gane a lot, Mike. Did you?
Oh my God, so impressive, man, for sure. And his takedown defense was very explosive. You know, he really made sure to spend the energy anytime that there was a threat of a takedown. And it was well spent because it's not like it was close on the feet. And we talked about that, right? This thing could have gone one-sided for either man, depending on where they got it. And I think the one thing that was suspect that we, changed, because I think his ground game is still suspect, AJ. I think if he's on his back, that could have gone a lot differently, but it it didn't because of the takedown defense.
Right.
So that's something to really admire from a Ciryl Gane, and I have to acknowledge that his takedown defense is definitely there, and it's going to be tough for most guys to get him down, wrestlers or not, grapplers or not. He was very explosive when he got to an underhook, when he got away from the fence. He knew what he was doing, AJ. He definitely has been going against grapplers in the gym. Clearly is showing a very, very high level of takedown defense. Now, I say explosive because I don't know what that shit would look like when he got tired. You remember him and Francis got tired as hell. I don't know what a tired Ciryl Gane looks like because he's way too good at striking for us to find out. He dominated that fight, man. Him and Tom Aspinall, I'm kind of down.
I am going to say that I'm in for that fight. I think it's a very cool, like, stylistic clash because you have heavyweights with unique skill sets that if you think back to last generation's heavyweights, very few have had those type of capabilities with footwork.
Especially speed. Tom Aspinall's well-rounded as hell.
Well-rounded as it gets. So it's interesting to me because I wonder with Ciryl Gane in a fight against Tom Aspinall, would he be more suspect to being taken down with a threat in the stand-up? Sergey Spivak is an extremely limited boxer. He really doesn't have, a ton of thud on his shots, but nor does he have like diverse combinations. He's just not that accurate for me on the feet. I think Spivak's stand-up is, I don't want to say bad. I would say it's more on the medium tier. I would say he's an average striker at best, but it's useful against guys that don't move like Ciryl Gane. I mean, Sergey Spivak is still going to be a nightmare for a lot of guys to deal with at 265 pounds. Could I throw a potential matchup at you, Finch, that I'm kind of curious?
Go on.
What if we go him and Romanov? What if we do it?
I think Romanov's taking that L, buddy. I don't know.
Maybe.
I like it.
I think that he beats a Romanov, but I just feel like it's a reasonable clash of styles. Might not be a great fight, but I can see Spivak edging it out.
Right. Well, that'd be a good bounce back for Spivak. Clearly, Spivak, saw what the top of the division striking looks like, which is a lot better. And so, that's why I like that Tom Aspinall fight. You've got it 100% right, is that the striking clash is competitive. It's good. Tom Aspinall's got hands, man.
Yes. Tom Aspinall got hands and a half.
And then if Tom Aspinall gets on top of him, I don't know. You're saying the grappling's not suspect anymore, brother. I think if Tom Aspinall gets on top of him, maybe that's a death sentence. I mean, does Ciryl do anything off of his back? Or maybe he stands up like a beast because he is explosive as hell. Right. You have to give him that. I have to give credit where credit's due, which is, damn, he laid on the gas pedal as soon as you touched him. And that was nice to see. You saw urgency. I hadn't seen that from him in the last two.
Yeah, he was more urgent. He seems like he's pushing the pace a bit, looking to get people out of there. I like what I saw from Gane. I think this is the best version of him yet. And with this type of performance, I'm not going to think John Jones rematch is likely, but it's one of those scenarios where if Gane was able to beat a Tom Aspinall and Jones was still in the picture, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing them run it back just simply because of how quick their first fight went and everything went to plan for John Jones. But imagine we get in a different world where Ciryl Gane stops the first takedown. His confidence is through the roof from the start. We might be looking at a different fight.
Of course, 100%. Yeah, I that's why I think maybe John's coming into the Stipe fight a little overrated, man. I mean, people are really not criticizing anything about John, kind of forgetting what his last 3 or 4 fights looked like before that Stipe fight. John Jones in 2009 was just a destroyer of men. 2010, 2011, that was a long time ago.
Right. Yeah, it was. And he had the turn back the clock performance against Ciryl Gane. But yeah, we don't know. We don't know with the Stipe fight. Now, I'll early lean it. I'm going to be picking John Jones over Stipe. I'll tell you straight up right now, know when it comes. But we shall see. That fight's November 11th. I'm looking forward to that. We're actually not far out from it now, just over 2 months. So we got some exciting stuff to finish out the year. And obviously this card we're talking about this weekend is a pretty exciting fight. I do want to just quickly touch upon the other fights on the card, specifically the co-main event, which I felt was worth bringing up. Manon Fiorot put it on Rose Namajunas in that fight.
Good fight.
I was impressed. She looked good, man. She was able to outwork Rose on the feet, and she was so much stronger. I know some people, I've seen people online have put a claim that they like Rose at 125. I don't. I think she could beat girls at 25, more towards the back end of top 15, even top 7. But is the goal world championship. Her best chance of being a title contender and winning the belt is gonna stay at 115 pounds. I mean, a fight that intrigues me is Rose Namajunas at 115 versus the likes of an Amanda Lemos. That's a really cool fight. Even against the Mackenzie Dern, Jessica Andrade winner, a potential trilogy with Andrade is not something that I'd be opposed to at all. If she stays at 25, there's still matchups for her there, but she's farther out from a title picture. So, it needs to be a career decision. Is that weight cut worth it if you have an opportunity to get back for the title? I mean, she has 2 wins over the current champion at that weight class. You could assume 1 win and you're back in the title picture, right?
I mean, look how good Wei Li looked.
Right.
That knockout win still has to be in people's minds because Wei Li looks like maybe the best female fighter in the world right now, number 1 pound for pound. And, Rose got her out of there quick. So Rose is still dangerous. And, people, everybody's got, Manon Farrow in this fight, as they should. She won the fight. But I think something that's not talked about is the head movement difference. Like, if you watch the way Rose rolls with shots, Rose was in that fight, and she's still competitive with the top 3 of the division. So she could fight in either division, AJ. I like what I heard is that this week her and Dana are having dinner. So nice. Dana White's sitting down with Rose Namajunas. He said they're driving or flying in, and they're going to be, probably here for a few days. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. I wonder what direction they'll go with Rose. No matter what, she should be in big fights. I mean, I do want to see her fight, and that was not a staring contest as people had feared. No. They had a good fight.
They had a real good fight. I love the scrap, and she broke her pinky in the first round. Still went long. Still was throwing that.
Yeah, she's a gangster. Come on. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you, people in the chat who say they love the show. We appreciate you guys, too.
We see you guys in chat. Even if we don't get to you all, we appreciate the fuck out of you. Mike, you excited to talk about some fights?
I mean, let me say, Saint Denis, we killed the locks. Did we not kill the locks?
Yes, we did. Volkov from me.
Guys. Yeah. And the parlay hit.
And I tailed you, Finch. Yeah.
That is freaking 8 parlays in a row. We're about to, this is my 9. I'm going for the 9 parlay streak. Folks, I brought it. Come on.
Let's go.
The Parlay King's ready for the card, AJ. Let's go.
Let's go. Keep it on, champ. Let's go. I love it. The Parlay King, Mike Finch. Let's get it. What was your fight nickname, Mike?
Okay, so I had a picture of me. All right, there's a picture of me in my house where I'm this fat kid with a big head. And if you watch the Grinch movie, my friend Kenny pointed out that I look just like the kids, the baby Grinch with the big head. Where the fucked up shaving or whatever. So baby Grinch I came out to for my last fight as a joke, but I never really had a nickname, man. And if you look through my list of nicknames that these guys have given me, it's probably 50 deep. So I appreciate all the nicknames. No, if you knew me in high school, I was Finch. That's my nickname.
Finch. I think the official nickname, if you get to this double digits, especially if we even go right now at 8, you're right there. I feel like it's Mike Finch, the Parlay King, aka the Parlay King.
I'm with the Parlay King.
Yeah,
that's it.
King. That's
it. I
like that nickname.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I got to get 10 to cement it. Okay, so 2 more.
Let's go. We're gonna make it happen, bro. Guys, if you're watching, if you're enjoying, if you support us, smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe as well. And hey, if you fucking cash big on some fights and want to drop a buck in the chat, it's appreciated by Mike and I both. Much love, people. We want to get into the fights. It's UFC 293 this Saturday, and it's bringing the motherfucking heat. So let's start it off with the first fight on the card, which is Kevin Jousset versus Kiefer Crosbie. Now, Mike, I've been hearing rumblings of Jousset giving Adesanya problems in sparring. Now, I have also kind of said Who knows how true these scenarios are? Are they situational sparrings? Is this really live rounds? At the end of the day, Kevin Jousset is a welterweight prospect with a good judo background and seems to have a nice kickboxing game. But something that I like about Kiefer Crosbie is the fact he is ex-Bellator fighter, has been at a high level, is known to bring pressure, throw heavy punches, can take a shot, can definitely bring heat right back. So I expect Crosbie to turn this into a bit of a dogfight. I think his strength keeps him on his feet, potentially with Jousset looking for throws on the inside. I think Crosbie can outdog him, potential late TKO or decision. Bro, I'm going to go Kiefer Crosbie. I'm going Kiefer Crosbie, man. Nervous underdog pick.
On the first fight of the night, I'm against AJ. All right, we're going with the striker. Look, Kiefer Crosbie can box. I mean, I've seen him in Bellator. You know me. I was working in Bellator with these guys. He's tough. He can box, but I don't know, man. I'm feeling like he's dropping this decision, Jousset. So you believe the rumor or not? Did he tee up the champ or not? What are you telling us, AJ?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That's it. I think maybe he had a good moment. I don't know. I don't think he's teeing up Adesanya in the training room. At least from the footage that I saw of Jousset, I'm not like this is a guy that's beating up Israel Adesanya often.
Right. Yeah, I'm not thinking he beats up Izzy, but he doesn't have to. He has to beat Kiefer Crosbie. He probably does have the kicking game to do it. I'll say he lands twice as many kicks, stays on the outside, and gets this thing 29-28 for a decision for the first fight of the night.
I like to call on the over. I think that we're probably going long.
Right.
So Jousset minus 155 for him. So he's a light favorite to Kiefer Crosbie at plus 135 as the underdog. Over 2.5 is plus money at plus 138. I'm seeing, which I guess is a little bit surprising. I thought that maybe it was anticipated that they're going long. I think they are. I'm not saying go throw it all on the first fight of the night over 2.5. And I'm not even saying go attack the underdog. As I said on this week's Best of May bets, I don't love the dog side. I'm picking it. I think he can win the fight, but I don't think it's the greatest underdog call of all time. If he wins, awesome, but I recognize it's a pretty tall task.
Beavis and Butthead says, working in Bellator. Did you hear Dana's comments on Bellator last night? Dana went in on Bellator. You didn't hear it?
No.
Oh my God. He said that who in God's green earth. I think this is an exact quote at this point. Who on God's green earth would buy Bellator is what he's saying. Listen, Beavis or Butthead or both of you, if it's really a joint account, I think that Dana White is the promoter who made the UFC, who brought the sport to where it is, and that he's looking at Bellator and being like, look what I created versus look what they created. But, Dana ain't selling, and it's really apples and oranges. I think that Bellator's got some great fighters. I mean, could you imagine Patchy Mix, AJ McKee, Vadim Nemkov, Johnny Eblin coming into the UFC? That's got to be worth something, because those would be great fights. Bellator has great fighters, AJ. As funny as it is when Dana wants to, have a rant about them, I do think that you have to respect that Bellator's got some talented fighters, man. And a lot of the light heavyweights, by the way, are the UFC's light heavyweights. So when it comes to Bellator versus UFC fighters, I think the UFC fans would be surprised.
I think Bellator guys are very good. I think they're some of the best in the world for sure. It's just unfortunate, they're locked in over there and don't get that same rub with the fan base on being a massive star. But obviously I know Bellator pays well for their top guys. Here's what's interesting. So the Saudi Arabian investors for PFL are also aiding into the purchase of Bellator by PFL. It seems as though internationally now, PFL is going to become a real player at the highest levels, absorbing Bellator. Bellator is not going to be around forever at this point. It seems like they're going to be tied in with PFL heading into 2024. I know they got a Bellator 300 card. I'm hearing that they're going to keep doing more cards, but when is it going to end? If they're getting bought out, they're not going to keep both promotions running for long. So I feel as though PFL has a huge opportunity to become a powerhouse name, and I can see them as the real worldwide number 2 MMA organization. I know many people want to give it to one championship, and I do like one championship's model. I think they have entertaining fights. I think it's a fun concept. But personally, if you have PFL and Bellator combining with big investments from the Saudis, that's the number 2 MMA promotion in the world.
And Peter Thiel's got a book, 0 to 1, best business book I've ever read. Nice plug for Peter Thiel. He's he says you want to have a monopoly, like you want to shoot to have the Apple, you want to be the Google. So the UFC really does have that name recognition. It's going to be hard for anybody to come in and compete. UFC, I just talked to a guy today over at L&L Hawaiian Barbecue who just called it Ultimate Fighting. Like, people are still calling it Ultimate Fighting,
Yeah.
So the UFC's got it on lock. But yes, there's no question that if the PFL and Bellator became one, you're talking about the most elite talent rival the UFC has ever had. I mean, I think that could even beat Pride. And look what happened with Pride. Fedor Emelianenko, Rampage became champion. Shogun Rua became champion. Vanderlei, I mean, go down the list. Pride brought Anderson Silva. Pride brought in a ton of talent. I think this could potentially beat that. Them together, that would be real talent.
Yeah, I'm all in for it. I think that the strengthening of the market outside of the UFC only rises the level of the UFC as well, bro. So I'm all in. I'm in. Let's fucking hope for it, man. I want to bring up the next fight on the card, Finch, man. We'll go into a fucking rant about Bellator, PFL.
Yes, I did go Jousset. You ever heard the
Jousset.
Dave Chappelle joke? Jousset Smoulier. I went
never heard it.
Smoulier.
Juicy
You got to watch the Dave Chappelle special. Can you
haven't seen
appreciate good stand-up comedy, AJ?
Can
you watch Dave Chappelle specials for me?
I'll have to, man. You have to tee me up with it, bro. Tell me which one. We going on Netflix?
AJ, you're uncultured if you haven't watched these.
I know. I think I might be, man. I don't know what's going on in Florida over here.
I'm a big comedy fan. You guys realize for my birthday, I went to the Comedy Store. I saw David Spade from The Office. He plays the keyboard. He's in This Is the End, and Craig Robinson. Craig Robinson was there. Tiffany Haddish, a bunch of good comedians. So I do this I love comedy. So don't let me. I mean, if you don't watch comedy, maybe it's a me thing.
No, I think it's good stuff. I guess I'm not, like you said, I'm not cultured on it. I'm not cultured, man. I'm like the guy calling it Ultimate Fighting. Comedy stand-up. What are you watching? Some comedy stand-up? Some standing
Ultimate
comedy?
Fighting. I'm like, damn, the UFC's got it on lock. People still, can you imagine if people didn't know the difference between baseball and the MLB? Like, that's where it's at still.
That's crazy. You remember this, kids, bro? I train UFC, bro. My hands are registered. There was always some of those kids, and I'm like, dude,
my hands are registered.
No one's got fucking registered hands, bro.
I remember people asking me about that. They're like, yeah, so since you're an MMA fighter now, do you have to go like register your hands as lethal weapons? I'm like, I think somebody just made that up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Is that a thing?
That's a made up thing. Some kid I remember in school, Korean kid. So he, claimed to have done Taekwondo or something like that. And he would always say, yeah, I got registered hands or whatnot. Yeah, exactly. I'd rather be an unregistered weapon, bro. I don't need to be tracked.
These are nukes, bro.
Trust. Those are the Finch nukes. Finch Poetan. Finch Pereira.
That's right. Yeah, I try, man. I try the Pahea style, and then I get punched in the face. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Actually, fuck that style. But he's a gangster. Anyway, there are more fights on this card. This is a good card.
Next fight on the card is Shane Young versus Gabriel Miranda. In this fight here, I got to pick Shane Young. And I think, Young is a guy that is easy to fade on the betting lines. I just feel as though Miranda's so unproven at the UFC level. At the very least, I can say Shane Young has slick kickboxing technique when he's on. His takedown defense, I think, will be rather solid here. Though Miranda has a good jiu-jitsu game, I question his abilities to get this fight to the mat with Shane Young, who I think is the more crisp striker. When I watch Miranda attack, I think he has a nice onslaught of pressure, but a little wilder, a little bit more reckless. I think Shane Young can win this one, man. I know the Benoit Saint Denis loss is looking really good for Miranda now because he was dog tough in the first round, but he still got stopped early in the second. And I think Shane Young takes him on the cards.
Man, I was looking at Miranda fighting Saint Denis again, and the way Saint Denis ran him over. Holy shit. Is Saint Denis a gangster or what? How are the odds like even on that fight, man? Well, I'm glad we both sniped that pick. You locked it too?
I don't remember, bro.
You put in a parlay or a lock. Yeah.
I know I picked Saint Denis in that matchup.
Saint Denis a the way he fucked up Gabriel Miranda. Whoa, because Gabriel Miranda's good. Look, Blake Builder was able to take Shane Young down. It's a little concerning, but I do like Shane Young's kickboxing. He's at home, city kickboxing, man. I could see him pulling this thing out. The crowd behind him freaking out. I could imagine Shane Young just kickboxing his way to a decision, I guess. Not a fight I'm betting on. It'll probably be a fun one, though.
Yeah, I think fun fight, but keep away from the lines on my end. I'm not throwing Shane Young down, period. Minus 170 for Shane Young with Miranda at plus 145 as an underdog. The over 1.5 is minus 205. I mean, I think it goes over 1.5, but I wouldn't really advise the betting. I don't like the betting on this fight. I don't think it's a good move.
Enjoy it, folks.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the fucking potential striking match. Maybe some crazy grappling exchanges. But for your wallet's sake, unless you're really feeling that Miranda underdog, I'm not into it.
No touch.
No touch. No touch. Let's keep running up. Next fight on the card, we got Charles Radtke versus Blood Diamond. Listen, I got to go with Mr. Radtke to pull it off over Blood Diamond. I think he's going to end up submitting him. Blood Diamond has dangerous kickboxing, but 3-2 MMA fighter at 35. I respect what he's done in the pure stand-up game, but I just think when you take on a dangerous MMA prospect who has some grappling skills and is a strong dude, he's going to get his back and he's going to choke him out. Give me the strangle. Give me the strangle. Radtke strangle.
Charlie Radtke has been talked about as being a UFC fighter for like 15 years now. I remember him as a high school kid over at Wrecking Ball MMA over in Grays Lake, Illinois, where, nobody knew. But Charlie Radtke was training with his brother Brian, and they were fighting in the XFO. I've done commentary on their fights freaking 8 years ago when they're young kids. They've always been beasts. They've always been known as great athletes. And Charlie got really good at jiu-jitsu. He was training at 360 up in Wisconsin with Scott Houston. I remember rolling with him after I hadn't seen him in a couple years, and holy shit, his guillotine game was super tight. He's the first guy who I've ever sat, like high-fived and sat with to roll, who did a cartwheel over the top of me to grab my neck and hit a guillotine. I was very impressed by that gorilla squeeze he's got, and it's just a whole other level from Blood Diamond. Like, Blood Diamond is dangerous. Make no mistake about it. If this was a kicking match, Blood Diamond runs away with it, but Charlie Radtke's a lot more ready for more facets of this fight. If Charlie Radtke gets on his back, it's probably a wrap. And let's be honest, even in a boxing match, this is competitive. Charlie Radtke's got hands, dude. He keeps his chin tucked. He keeps his hands up. He's got power in his shots. He throws with his legs, and he's taking this super serious. I remember him announcing that he was in the UFC months ago. He's been training like a savage. I'm so confident in him, brother. My friend, my brother, Charlie Radtke, repping local Illinois.
Let's go. Radtke for the win. I'm with you, bro. I think he's got a real good chance to win. I'll be honest, I didn't know that you had personal experience with him. And
shout out to Pat Curran for having us over at the gym when Charlie kicked my ass. I mean, I was training kind of consistently at the time. I thought, all right, I'll heel hook this MMA fighter, once or twice. No, Charlie's a dog, buddy. Charlie's good on the ground.
Charlie's good on the ground, and he's taking on a guy who's rather one-dimensional with kickboxing as his main base. Plus 260 for Blood Diamond makes a lot of sense. Radtke's minus 310. He's a wide favorite, but he should win. Now, the money line side is not what I'm excited about. What Finch is talking about himself feeling the submission game of Radtke, I think Blood Diamond's in real trouble on the ground. Plus 140 win by submission by Radtke makes so much sense to me here.
I think so. Yeah, I think he hits the submission, man.
Yeah.
I could see him getting out of there, pretty quick. It's important to mention Blood Diamond has the capability to knock people out, bro. His head kicks, some of his head kicks in kickboxing, so tricky, so loose with those hips. It's very difficult, but I think Charlie Radtke doesn't make stupid mistakes either. Like, for a kid making his UFC debut, he keeps his hands up, chin tucked. It'll be hard to get one in there, man. I think Charlie's going to strangle him.
I agree. Now, let me tell you this, Mike, about the kickboxing thing, because you're the one that really opened my eyes to it. I feel like since Adesanya became champion and then Pereira there to follow, Giga Chikadze doing well, a lot of kickboxers are transitioning, looking for MMA as, another outlet. But there seems to be a bit of maybe overhype on the fact that if you have kickboxing fights, you're going to outstrike an MMA fighter that also trains kickboxing, that's more accustomed to fighting with the option of takedowns and small gloves. And it changes the game for sure, man. I think that the best base for MMA is fucking MMA at this point. Yeah,
exactly right. And AJ and I had that last year we were talking about that on this podcast. So for those of you guys who are longtime fans, you guys know exactly what AJ's talking about. And those glory kickboxers, those K1 kickboxers, they get a little overrated coming into MMA. And I don't know how many times people need to see them get knocked out or lose. It just happened on Dana White's Contender Series.
It happened, yeah. And that dude, Yusri, honestly, he was losing in the stand-up. It wasn't like it was just one side he's getting taken down. He was getting touched on the feet too. So just something to note for people that get high on the kickboxers. Blood Diamond, Adesanya's teammate in kickboxing. He's rather impressive, but I don't think that MMA at this point of his career, against guys that have been grinding for years, specifically with a well-rounded skill set, I don't see him having success. He'll need, the way he wins this fight against Radtke is a knee when Radtke looks to enter close range, the meanest elbow of all time, or a fucking sniper kick from the outside. Because as this fight goes longer, Radtke's going to get more comfortable and he's going to get him to the ground.
100%. I do think he'll not cop. Jesus, Blood Diamond will have to snipe him, and it's hard to be a sniper sometimes, especially when somebody's coming into guerrilla warfare, coming in close to you. So I don't think he'll be able to use the sniper rifle, and the fight will be too close too soon. And Charlie might fuck him up, dude. This might be like a 1-minute fight.
Yeah, I could see it. Radtke. We're both picking them submission win. Let's keep running up, Finch. Next fight on the card, we got Nasrat Haqparast versus Landon Quiñones. Quiñones recently fought on The Ultimate Fighter, and he was quickly submitted by Jason Knight as part of the Prospects team. He now gets a big opportunity to take on Nasrat Haqparast, who's a skilled UFC veteran. The thing is I think people will look at Quiñones' submission loss and maybe think, okay, so Haqparast could expose him quickly on the ground too. Not his style. Haqparast is more of your MMA kickboxing style, and he's rather patient with his attack, more calculated in the way he'll pick his opponents apart. Quiñones is actually a pretty quality striker and a good athlete too. I just think you have to go UFC veteran here. Haqparast should beat him, but I could see them going to 3 rounds. I feel like I got to go Haqparast by a decision.
Landon Quiñones can throw punches in bunches. He can apply pressure. He's capable at grappling. So I do think this maybe goes to a decision. But yeah, I think you have to have Haqparast, man. I think Nasrat will probably take it 29-28 though. Maybe he'll get into like a little bit of a competitive fight here. But apparently the bookies know too, -475. I thought that was kind of fat for Nasrat.
Nasrat's a big favorite, man. It's just because Quiñones was convincingly quick tap. Like, you lose bad on The Ultimate Fighter, and then you get an immediate UFC shot against, obviously, we don't know for sure that Nasrat would beat Jason Knight, but realistically, Nasrat Haqparast should beat a Jason Knight. So this is like a massive step up in competition for Quiñones too. I expect him to lose, but I don't think he's a bad fighter.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad fighter. I think, this is a fight. It's not an execution. The odds make it look a little more like an execution. And I don't know. Are you that impressed with Nasrat? He's not. I hope I live to regret this. Sorry, Nasrat. He's not going to be champ. I don't think he's. I think he's vulnerable enough. But is Quiñones the guy? It's not what I'm saying. I picked Nasrat, but I ain't betting on him.
Yeah, he's too big of a favorite. Will be more of your extension to a parlay, but the wide line, unplayable, especially when you have a guy who's not a finisher. So Nasrat to win the fight, but he's not a finisher. Over 2.5 is -145. It probably comes through, but I feel like it's a murky waters over, because it's not impossible for Nasrat to put some combos together and get Quiñones out of there. I know the sub is like +1400. He's never won by sub before, though, so that's why.
No, I don't think he's finishing this fight.
No,
I don't know. People think Quiñones sucks that bad. Damn, guys. Yeah. Damn. Nasrat's going to finish him? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think Haqparast win on the judges' scorecards. And let's keep running up the card. Next fight on it, we got Jamie Mullarkey versus John Makdessi.
Okay.
So every statistical advantage possible in terms of picking fights favors Jamie Mullarkey. He is the younger guy by 9 years. He is taller by 4 inches, and he also brings into this fight a 6-inch reach advantage. Now, John Makdessi is a dangerous striker, though, and he's a guy that has a good attack. But where I really see him outmatched is in the physicality department. The younger man is going to be faster. He's going to be stronger. He's the better athlete of the two. And I could see Mullarkey kind of bullying Makdessi on the inside and even on the feet. I think the boxing of Mullarkey could land. Now, a red flag with Mullarkey for some will be, he's gotten put to bed before in fights. His last matchup, upset loss to Muhammad Naimov. And then obviously Jalen Turner ran him over. But I think here in this matchup, this is a Mullarkey win. Mullarkey has a win over Francisco Prado, who's a pretty scary, prospect on the come up. And Mullarkey convincingly out kickboxed him. I think he beats Makdessi. I'm going to say decision, though.
I see why you'd want to go decision. Makdessi, good kickboxer, but getting old for lightweight, AJ.
Yeah.
Getting a little old for lightweight. And I feel like Mullarkey's not. So Mullarkey's had a couple tough fights, but I do think he could shine here. Hopefully he grapples. He uses his size, his strength, as AJ said. Mullarkey's capable of getting it done here. Does he get a finish? I certainly wouldn't bet on it, but I could imagine you guys putting Mullarkey in a parlay. That wouldn't be out of the question.
I think it's a solid parlay piece at minus 260. I believe the likelihood's high. And, if you just look statistically without even talking about the stylistic matchup, there's a high percentage of Mullarkey winning, not even digging into it. Mullarkey stylistically, I also like the matchup for him. So Mullarkey to win is minus 260. I like what Finch said. I don't think you should go chasing prop bets because it's plus 110 by decision and the over is minus 205. Mullarkey, the money line, potential parlay piece. That's my thoughts here.
I like it. Are we going to see it in AJ's parlay? Now I'm tuned in.
We'll see. Let's keep running up. Next fight on the card, we got Jack Jenkins versus Chepe Mariscal.
Let's go.
Shit. This is a good fight. This is a real good fight. I don't think it's an absolute annihilation like maybe some really anticipate. With Jack Jenkins, you have a strong kickboxer who does have some nasty calf kicks, and I feel like he fights well in the close range as well. As on the outside, he comfortably switches stances, which is something that I like. He does work pretty decent in the clinch, and I'd say overall he has a solid ground game with some takedown defense. But on the opposite side, he's got the madman Mariscal, who's a really good pressure striker with very strong wrestling, who's coming off of a win over Trevor Peek in a pretty fun back and forth. I got to pick Jack Jenkins to win. I think Chepe Mariscal is one of those underdogs that you respect. And if you are betting him, he's going to fight hard for your money. But Jenkins, to me, is clearly the slicker guy. And I think that should aid him to beating the dangerous Chepe by a decision, Finch.
Yeah, Chepe stormed into the UFC and people really got to see what he is, man. A fighter, a kid who's durable, who wants it, who's going to go for it, who's going to be exciting, And he's fighting a guy now who's more of a UFC vet, who's a little bit more polished, more technical than Chepe. But Chepe's going to bring that fire, man. AJ and I were talking before we went live. Chepe used to teach kickboxing classes at my gym, UFC Gym River North in downtown Chicago. And man, he's, come a long way. It's been cool to see him go all the way up. And I knew he was fighting elite guys. I've already seen multiple guys in the UFC who he'd previously fought, and Chepe's always taken tough fights, always his whole career. So he's not going to be one of those guys who's just shocked by a talented fighter, a veteran fighter. He's always taken those tough matchups as to where you could see in some people's records, they avoid them. It's the most common route in boxing, and in MMA, you see it sometimes too. It's not what Chepe did. So he feels like he's experienced. I mean, he goes in there and he knows how to start a fucking fight. I just think Jack Jenkins is more technical than him. So I would caution you guys, betting on this fight, I think Jack Jenkins is the favorite for a reason, and that's because he's the UFC veteran, and then he's an Aussie, right? He's home, AJ, so a little bit of hometown rub. You could imagine in a close fight, the judges looking at Jack Jenkins. You talk about the crowd having an influence. I mean, it'll probably be a good, fun fight, and Jack Jenkins will probably make it pretty freaking close. And if the best thing Chepe could do is just make it rowdy, I think. The best thing Chepe could do is sit in that pocket a little extra, hit him with that last shot, and make it a fight. I think if Chepe does what he wants to do, it's like a fight of the night type of fight. And if Jack Jenkins does what he wants to do, he starts closing him out with getting key takedowns and using his kicks, his calf kicks, and using his technique, his slickness.
So you got Jenkins for the win?
Did you see me try to avoid?
Yeah.
I steered the here. Haley got me a captain's hat for my birthday here. I steered the ship away from that pick. I tried to not quite dock it.
Yeah.
I can't go against Chepe. I can't go against my guy. I can't be picking against Charlie Radtke, Chepe, Michael Hayden, the Oscar brothers. There are some people I ain't doing it. All right. So fine, Chepe, if you need to hear it, AJ.
Mike Finch is on the underdog. He's on his boy. Hey, listen, with Cub Swanson, that worked out.
It did. I should just lie more often. Yeah. Like, do you remember when Fabricio Verdum armbarred Gustafsson?
Yeah.
Well, I was training. I had seen Fabricio that week, so I was going to go see him again, but I picked Gustafsson because that's what I thought. Sure enough, Fabricio fucking armbars him. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going back to the gym, and I just picked his opponent.
Holy shit.
He won. What an asshole. So you got to be careful when you know these fighters. It ain't as easy as you folks might think.
Yeah, facts, though. Facts, bro. As far as the odds, plus 170 for Mariscal to minus 200 for Jenkins. I think Jenkins wins. I think it's a gutsy fight, minus 185 for the over 2.5, whereas Jenkins by decision, plus 135. Listen, I like Jenkins, and I am picking him to win. But, he's not one of the guys that I'm saying I'm going to throw down in the parlay or, try to attack a 2-1 money line. Mariscal is going to be dangerous on the other side. So I respect people who are on that underdog side a lot. This is one of those matchups where, yes, I am picking Jenkins, but I'm not going to be throwing the line at him because Mariscal is always a live dog.
He is, man. He is a dog. I mean, AJ always asks, does he got that dog in him?
He does.
AJ, Chepe's got that dog in him.
He's got that dog. So if you're betting the dog, you at least got a guy it's going to come out fucking barking and biting.
I like it. It's a good fight. As far as the fight night goes, this one I'm popcorned up for. I'm ready to go. This is going to be a good fight. This could easily be fight of the night if Chepe is able to bring it.
Yeah, agreed. Looking forward to this one. Even more excited to talk this next one. It's Carlos Ulberg versus Da Un Jung. It's the featured prelim of the night. Obviously, I'm picking Carlos Ulberg. I think stylistically he has a clear edge over Un Jung, and many will call to the fault of Ulberg and say, oh, but what about the fight with Tefan Chukwi? And they'll compare the matchup, right? When Tefan Chukwi fought against Carlos Ulberg, that was the UFC debut for Ulberg. He let everything fly and was unable to get Nzechukwu out of there. I said Tefan Chukwi. I meant Kennedy Nzechukwu. I feel like here in 2023, the win streak that I'm seeing for Carlos Ulberg, the slickness in his stand-up, his precision striking, his beastly frame. Da Un Jung is a strong boxer. He was badly knocked out by Dustin Jacoby. You remember he had a draw with Sam Alvey nearly 3 years ago. Da Un Jung has made the adjustments and improvements. Don't follow suit and say, oh, because, Nzechukwu was able to beat Ulberg and Un Jung beat him, that means he's a live dog. If you look at the skill for skill between these two, Ulberg's slickness is substantially better. I think he's more accurate, and I think he's putting Un Jung to bed in this fight.
Brother, I'm so impressed by Ulberg's striking. I mean, he's one of the best city kickboxer strikers there are out there. He really represents well. You could see the style. You could see the swagger he's got. And he's really feeling the role. I don't know if you saw his interview with Nina, and
I didn't see it.
He's a funny guy, and he's starting to fill into this role of being this entertainer. So I think that Carlos Ulberg, by the stock, because you got to go with them, man. I think Carlos Ulberg gets a knockout here too. And yeah, I think that he does it with his legs probably. You know, I think he keeps this fight at a distance, you know, in front of the Aussie crowd. You got to think Carlos Ulberg here.
Ulberg is a minus 260 favorite at the moment with Jung at plus 220 as a dog. I do feel like it's going to be a round and a half or less. I'll say it ends up going under, not really telling you to go throw down on the under, but just worth mentioning. I like Ulberg to win. The money line, yes, it's wide, but it's my call here with confidence. I also think knockout is quite possible. Minus 140. I'm expecting Carlos Ulberg to knock Jung out in emphatic fashion. And I think a lot of people are going to start realizing that Carlos Ulberg's game, I think, is a problem for a lot of guys, even in that top 15. I mean, can you imagine a fight between Ulberg and the likes of Dustin Jacoby, Khalil Roundtree, etc.? I think he's on his way there.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, for sure. For sure. Come on. He's on his way up, man. He's very, very skilled. I think he's more skilled than some of the guys you just mentioned there. So yeah, when I was saying buy the stock, I mean, like, you know, this is early on. We're going to see him headline some cards and shit. You know, he seems to me like, in the spot where he's gaining confidence, these matchups he's feeling, you know, so you got to think that the promotion's kind of behind him when you see these type of fights, you know. I think the UFC is thinking, okay, give us another knockout or two and we'll really promote you.
And if you look at his age for the light heavyweight division, 32 years of age, that's like pretty good because like shit, you're at light heavyweight. I can see 40-year-old Ulberg still being dangerous. He's got a lot of time to grow still. He's got a really good frame, and he's a key training partner for Israel Adesanya.
40-year-old Ulberg, damn. Even he's got to be like, man, I think we're good by then, bro. Yeah, for sure. 32 is in his prime. I just turned 31. How do I look, folks? Come on. Of course, 32 is in their prime, AJ. Perfect.
Yeah, agreed. Ulberg, confident call for me. We're both riding with him. Knockout win in the featured prelim. And let's jump to the main card. If you guys are watching and you haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Special Wednesday edition of the show. Normally, it's Moneyline Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific, every single Monday before the fights. So make sure you guys tune into it. All right, let's get into this matchup. Tyson Pedro versus Anton Turkalj. I'm going Tyson Pedro to win. I feel like people have been sleeping on Pedro because of a subpar performance against Modestas Bukauskas, but I'm not impressed by Turkalj at the UFC level. His most impressive win to me is a victory over Ibu Aslan, where he was able to weather a storm and end up getting a submission in that fight. He doesn't have a grappling advantage over Tyson Pedro. I also feel as though Pedro is the better kickboxer of the two. I expect a calculated Pedro and a competitive fight in the stand-up and in the grappling, but with just the edge towards Pedro for most of the time. I'm going with him by a decision.
Yeah, come on, man. Jeez, did people hop off the train? Do you remember the way you folks were talking about Tyson Pedro?
Yeah.
People loved him, dude. What's going on, guys? Where'd you go? He misses you so. Dun, 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 since you've been gone.
Musical Mike Finch in the house.
Please come back home. Dun, 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 dun. Fort Minor, folks. Come on, man. Shout out to Mike Shinoda. Man, I think that he does well here. He probably gets a knockout, dude. This is a showcase performance for him. Tyson Pedro pretty much has to worry about getting taken down in this fight, and I think his ground game's capable. You know, he could definitely show what he needs to show, pop back up on his feet. I think he comes in hungry and strong. You listen to, you know, head coach at City Kickboxing is like, man, he's been hungry. He's been in the gym with a chip on his shoulder, and I've been able to use that. I believe him, man. I bet he's going to have a great performance. I like him. I like Ulberg. I think these guys are coming in to smish to get these KOs.
I agree. I think Pedro's got a real good shot of winning this fight. Tyson Pedro is also sitting at an even line. You can actually find them as an underdog. So I have around minus 115 for Pedro, but also as low as minus 100, depending where you're playing. And then Turkalj at kind of the opposite, minus 105 to minus 115. Rather, I should say the complete same. Pedro's a close money line, but he's a savvy UFC veteran at this point versus an 0-2 fighter. Like, you guys got to recognize Pedro is being given a very winnable matchup here to get him back on track, and I expect him to win this one. I believe he's going to pull it off. The money line is beautiful at near even money. Now, Mike, you're on the knockout side, so looking at that KO win for Pedro plus 300, something maybe to look at. I don't know.
Brother, you know what I'm... AJ, tell the people what I'm about to say. AJ
Money
knows
line.
what I'm...
Just money line it. Why do we
the odds are good.
The odds are so good. Money line it.
So good.
It's
money
a
line. If you're thinking about betting on this fight, I think the way to go is money line. I think you'll be happy. Yes, of course, Tyson Pedro could knock him out, but yeah, if he takes him to a decision, that Aussie crowd will be hyping him up. I just I'm surprised the odds are this close, to be honest. This might be, if you're looking odds wise, which is actually not the way I've been betting on fights. That's why I'm on this parlay streak. It's like, just pick your most confident fights, you know? And I feel like as far as looking at it from the other way, though, looking at like where are the odds at, this is the most mispriced one on the card.
Yeah, I think Pedro easily is a 2-1 favorite in my mind. You take out that Bukowskis fight, you take that matchup off the table. Let's say it didn't happen. He's a minus 250. He might be a 3-1 favorite here.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Where I sang you Mike Shinoda, Fort Miners, where'd you go?
Yeah.
Folks, he still can kickbox.
Yeah, he's got this fight. Pedro for the win, and I'm feeling pretty good about it, especially odds to likelihood of success. High likelihood. Pedro for the W.
Pedro for the WFTW, and I think the Aussies are going to be happy, folks.
They will. They might be happy here too, you know. We got Justin Tafa versus Austen Lane 2. This is a rematch, and if you remember their first fight, Lane clawed the eyes of Justin Tafa like he was a fucking tiger, nearly blinded him there. They run it back, and I am still picking Tafa for the KO, but looking at that first fight, Lane very, very early, it was a quick fight. Kicks look dangerous from the outside. He's a very long and tall guy, 6-inch height, 6-inch reach advantage. He's a large heavyweight. My problem with Lane is he doesn't respond well to clean punches on the chin. He's been knocked out before. I think he's getting knocked out here. Tafa has real thud in his punches. He's pretty damn durable, and I think he's getting a KO over Lane.
Woo! I could see Lane maybe, brother.
Hey, I respect it. I respect it.
I don't know, man.
It's a weird fight.
The first fight was kind of going Lane's way, no?
In the first, how long did it go, that first one? I believe less than 2 minutes. It might have been a minute.
It wasn't that long, but it was definitely kind of a sweaty. Like I think me and you were on Tafa. It was Palm's first 2 minutes. I mean,
29 seconds. What am I talking? 29 seconds. The first one. It was a scary 29 seconds.
It was a scary 29. Fair enough. Tafa's got a lot of power. I just thought Lane started well. Dude, if I could caution you guys not to bet on one fight on this card, this is a crazy fight. I mean, both of these guys could win. I see why you're picking Tafa, bro. I think you like these Samoans, dude. I feel like AJ wants a fucking bruiser. He wants some heavy-handed lunchbox throwing Samoan with a blockhead, you know, who's going to come in there and bang it out. Be honest.
I do, bro. I like that style. I was always a Mark Hunt fan. I just think that they're savage builds. I like the heavy hands. And I think a matchup with a guy like Lane, like this is where the Samoans shine, with the good athletes who are athletic, but their chins are up high and they get put to bed by a strong Samoan.
Mark Hunt's retired MMA record is 13 wins and 14 losses. So crazy. I know Mark Hunt's not stepping in there with Austen Lane, but these Samoan guys, there are ways to beat them. You can grapple them. You can kick them. Austen Lane's so much longer. He was off to a good start. Man, what a tough pick for me. What are the odds?
The odds for the fight are going to sway you towards Lane because Justin Tafa is a favorite at minus 200 to Lane as a plus 170 underdog.
We got to go Lane, buddy. We got to go
for the Finch, man.
You guys are seeing with Tafa, you think, oh, yeah, these Tafas with their hooks. I don't know, man. Which one's the better Tafa? You were telling me.
I mean, technically, it's Junior Tafa, but Justin Tafa has more MMA and UFC experience. But the technical skill set does favor Junior Tafa because of his kickboxing base. But like we were just talking about, it's kickboxing. It's not MMA.
Right. Different, folks.
Different sport. We got to bring up Waddy real quick, Finch. We got a $2.99 Australian dollar dono in the chat. Strickland by
Austen.
third round strangle. He throws us to 299 and he throws us a hot take. Waddy, we appreciate that 299. Strickland by third round strangle. Well, you're going to hear our breakdown of that fight soon. If you've been watching the channel all week, you already know mine, and I know you have, so you know where I'm at. I respect you, though. Respect you going ballsy. I respect you going Strickland. But come on, baby. Come on.
Why calls it a strangle? You know, you're after my heart, brother. That's exactly right. It's a strangle. It's not a choke. Thank you for recognizing. We appreciate it in the jiu-jitsu community. However, I think Sean Strickland might have some trouble wrestling. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
So as far as the odds, Lane is the underdog. I'm on Tafa. At one point when they initially booked, I was going through a rough patch with the locks at the time, and I ended up throwing down. I picked Tafa for the win as lock of the week. You know I ain't doing that this week. I'll tell you guys ahead of time. If you watch my other show, you know the lock, but I'll leave it as a surprise because Finch doesn't know it, and I won't be Tafa, though. I'll drop one spoiler, so it ain't Tafa. Not again. No repeat.
Got it. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I guess I'll go Lane because the odds makers made me do it, but folks, there are better bets on this card.
Listen, you know, Finch he's going dog money. He likes the 6'6" frame. We'll find out on fight night, my friend. We're going to see.
I like the 29 seconds, apparently. Tafa
like
can knock him out, folks.
Nice 29 seconds. Under 1.5, minus 205.
I ain't telling you guys what to do if you're like, I know Tafa's going to knock him out. All right. Then you know. I'm just telling you, I'm not betting on this one.
Let's go. Next fight on the card brings us to the featured bout of the night. It is Manel Kape taking on Felipe dos Santos. Listen, Felipe dos Santos is a blue chip prospect and somebody that has a lot of potential in the sport. But damn, talk about a debut that is looking like no shot. Because holy shit, Manel Kape is one of the best flyweights in the world, and he's been one of the top fighters in the lower weight classes for many years. Prior to being in the UFC, he was doing his work over in Ryzen. He has a very good kickboxing game. He's extremely explosive and athletic. He's well-rounded. And when you dig into Dos Santos, you have a guy that has that Brazilian Muay Thai base. He's a chute box. Is he chute box? Yeah, chute box Diego Lima.
Diego Lima.
He's a guy there, and that team has got killers. And he's definitely on the mats working with savages, but he hasn't fought a Manel Kape. He's going to be at a clear athleticism disadvantage. I believe he's at a technical disadvantage, and then add into the fact Kape has fought some of the best guys on the planet. I mean, he went distance with Alexandre Pantoja now a couple of years back, early in the UFC run, I believe his debut. I think here over Dos Santos, this is going to be a one-way annihilation. Manel Kape via knockout.
Yeah, I mean, Manel Kape was trying to fight Kai Kara-France. So
Right.
in his head, he's getting ready for one of the best strikers city kickboxing has to offer. And then he switches over to this tough Brazilian kid. Look, shoot the box fighters, they come to fight, brother. They're trying to beat you like you stole something. Yeah. So I totally believe Dos Santos is going to be dangerous. He'll be dangerous through his jiu-jitsu. He'll be dangerous with his kicks. He's going to move forward and try to stalk Manel Kape. But Kape's been there, done that, man. He's the UFC veteran. Honestly, I can't believe this is so high up on the card. This seems more like a prelim to me because you got to think Manel Kape gets this done. How does he finish it? I don't know. You probably would stick this in a parlay. I'm not sure if I will or not just yet, but Manel Kape, you have to think is going to beat this newcomer.
I think Manel Kape knockout here, minus 385, so he's a large favorite, to plus 320 Felipe Dos Santos. Looking at Kape to win via knockout, minus 140. I do think it comes to fruition. Obviously, not the price tag that the majority of people are looking for, but likelihood to me is high. And the reason they kept it there in the featured bout is because of Kara-France pulling out. That was a perennial number one contender fight, Kara-France versus Kape. And I will assume that the UFC is going to consider doing a rebooking of that after this one, because I like that matchup a ton. And I feel as though Manel Kape is a guy that could fight for the belt in 2024.
Damn, now that's some Manel Kape love. Now, if you believe that, brother, my prediction is this is going to end up in the AJ parlay. How about that? My prediction is I'm hearing this name later.
Let's see. He
gave himself away, folks. JJ in the chat, Mike Finch is a Virgo. Gosh, he seems like a fire sign to me. Have you people lost your minds? Have you lost
Mike the Zodiac Finch? He is a Virgo, man.
You think that because of the month I was born, that'll correspond to an astrological sign that will determine the way I act?
I think so, man.
How did what are you talking about? People, this is silly. This is silly nonsense. We have to leave these things aside, okay? This is how you think, okay? 3 ways. Believe in things based on evidence, not based on authority or dogmas, right? Based on evidence. Use the first principles approach. What's most fundamentally true, and work from there. And then use the scientific method. Start with a hypothesis, try to prove yourself wrong. And report your conclusions. This is the way to think. Not like, oh, I read this horoscope, therefore it must be, this is going to happen today. You're not going to have a fruitful life, okay? I'm trying to help you, JJ. I want you to be successful. Enough with this nonsense.
Right. This is such a Virgo answer by this guy.
That's the problem, is that he actually AJ sold now, JJ. Fuck.
I'm sold, man. I'm sold. He sold me. That's it.
JJ, you just took the co-host, man. You just derailed AJ.
Let's go, baby. All right. Kape for the win for us both. Let's get to the co-main event. Let's jump to it. We got Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa versus Alexander Drago Volkov. I believe Drago Volkov's length is a serious factor here. He's been looking really good, whereas Tuivasa has back-to-back losses where he has taken a lot of damage, 2 knockout losses in a row, whereas Volkov's been handing out the KOs. I think Alexander Volkov can out-kickbox Tuivasa in this fight and potentially stop him in the later stages. He's a long guy. He's a long guy. I like Volkov for the win.
Dude, I was hoping you were going to tell me Tai. I needed that confidence, brother.
Damn.
You don't think Tai can get to him?
Okay, so let me say this about Tai. He's got big power. I agree. But taking on a guy with the stature of Volkov who can be pretty calculated, dig into some of Tai's wins, bro. And we're going to look at it. I don't want to say that he's, kind of based on good timing, but Derek Lewis knockout. Okay, that was impressive. Augusto Sakai, ex-UFC fighter. Greg Hardy, bare knuckle losses. Harry Hunsucker, not top tier. Stefan Struve, rather tall guy, longer and taller than Volkov, but notoriously chinny and struggled with shorter, stocky heavyweights that hit hard. I don't know, man. I think that Volkov is a big test for Tai Tuivasa. If Volkov is to win this fight, I'm looking at all the guys he's fought. I think this is the biggest win of his career as far as beating somebody technically sound. I know he beat Derek Lewis, who knocked out Volkov some years ago, but as far as technical skill sets, Volkov's going to be scary for him, dude.
I mean, I remember you saying about Cyril Gane, hey, he lost to John Jones and Francis, though. Let's not jump to conclusions, which turned out to be a good take. Fair. And I feel like same thing. Tai Tuivasa lost to Gane and Pavlovich. Like, true. This is not, so you aired out the other side, which is who is he beaten, but like who is he lost to as well. And I thought he actually did show some fruit in that Cyril Gane fight. Like he fought with his Australian spirit, right? And so I feel like in Australia he'll be tough to beat. Yeah. And I was watching the Rosenstruik fight back, and when Volkov defends himself, he does like the Klitschko or the Muay Thai shell, or where they extend their shoulders up and they kind of tuck their chin. And Rosenstruik, he kind of threw a blitz, but he missed a couple. Within 30 seconds, Volkov got on him and finished him. With that type of reaction, I actually do like the looping punches and sort of the head hunting of Tai Tuivasa. I could see it. With that being said, I saw Carlos Ulberg do an interview with Nina, and then I saw Tai. And when I saw that Tai was shorter than Carlos Ulberg, and then I'm thinking he's fighting 6'7" Volkov, who, I've stood next to Volkov. He's a fucking tower, man, So Volkov is no bet for me again, and I need to respect.
Tuivasa the dog, though. You got plus 210 on dog money, bro. If you feel
I like Tai Tuivasa knockout, I could see it happening, especially because he's at home, especially because of the way they match up. But I wanted AJ's backing, bro. This is fucked up. You left me out here alone.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't know beforehand. Listen, I think Volkov technically better. I'm going with him to win. I'm worried about Tai Tuivasa in this fight. Now, it would be awesome to see Tai Tuivasa chin him. I will gladly be wrong for the fan base on this one because a tie win is always, pretty entertaining. It gives us a shoey. There's a lot to talk about after. As far as this fight, Volkov by TKO, I think is quite possible, plus 125. I spoke about it as a potential prop to look at. Don't love it at plus 125. But still worth bringing up. That's my method of victory call. Tie by knockout is plus 225 with a straight money line of plus 210. If you are on Tai Tuivasa, you throw the money line down.
Yeah, man. Damn. Him as a dog, too. I see why you guys respect Volkov, man. When I was watching that Volkov fuck up Rosenstruck, I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, he actually is a pretty good striker. So, I don't know. Good fight. Fun fight. I mean, another one where it's like, are you going to miss this? This makes it a pay-per-view. This is fun.
Yeah. This is a good fight, man. I'm hype as fuck for it. So listen, we're going opposite sides. I respect you on the underdog. Stick with your fucking savage Mike Finch, but I got Volkov in this one, brother.
Fine. I'll stick with it. Nervously.
Nervous. Listen, those sometimes are your best picks, man. The nervous calls, they come through the best.
It'll be sweet if he lands that hook, uppercut, bang, bang, a little shoey, right? AJ, if Tai Tuivasa gets the knockout on the live, are we doing the shoey?
Fuck no. I'm retiring. I've retired from the shoey. Bro, after I was doing those shoeys, Finch, you know what I noticed? My stomach was bothering me the next day. I was worried about getting a fucking parasite or something. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I started thinking to myself, am I gonna die from doing these shoeys? I'm like, this is just not worth the risk. So no, I'm good, man. Maybe if I meet Tai Tuivasa, that's my next shoey.
Florida Italian man gets flesh-eating bacterial disease, he said he got from partying by drinking beer out of a shoe.
Yeah. I don't want to do that.
60 Minutes feature?
I'm good. I'll pass on it. I don't need it, bro. I'd rather be healthy and well.
I hope you're healthy and well, but I must say it was entertaining. Okay. All right. Hey, you guys know it was my birthday this weekend. AJ, when's your birthday?
November 12th, bro.
November 12th. Maybe we got to get AJ a Tai Tuivasa shoe.
Then I do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll look into it.
Yeah, I've said that before. If I'm gonna shoey anything, I'm doing a fucking shoey Vasa. I ain't using no fucking running shoe or something over here.
Okay, cool. I'm opening the Shoey Vasa Fund. It's Venmo at Mike Finch MMA. Just kidding.
Venmo,
no,
this guy.
guys, always dono in the chat here because we appreciate you.
Listen, if you want to send Mike a dono too, don't be afraid to hit him up on Venmo. I'm not offended.
I will definitely look into this, AJ. Like Eddie Bravo looks into things. I will look into it.
Let's go, Eddie. All right, let's jump to the main event of the evening. Make sure you guys smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe to it. We got Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. I feel as though Israel Adesanya has so many advantages in this fight. Pure kickboxing base, height, length, speed, athleticism, championship experience. I expect him to be calculated in picking Sean Strickland apart. With Sean Strickland, you don't know what the game plan will be because his game is normally, I'm going to come forward and throw fucking hands. He calls it the man dance. That's what he's looking to do here with Adesanya. I think he's going to get sniped if he chooses to do that. Now, I could see him going longer than he did with Poatan. I expect Adesanya to get him out of there more in the middle of the fight. I kind of think third round is possible. Maybe even a high kick. Israel Adesanya can set some things up. I know Dan Hardy pointed out how Sean Strickland likes to block the kicks with his hands sometimes when they go low. And can you imagine Adesanya picking up on that, setting up some beautiful high kicks, maybe one of those crazy KOs? I could see it. I like Izzy by knockout. I think he beats Sean Strickland. The belt ain't coming home to America this weekend, guys.
Oh, shit. Damn, you got to put it like, why do you got to put it like that, bro? What the hell?
We're American. Repping USA. Strickland is repping USA, man. He said it. He said, we're bringing the belt back to America. I'd be straight up, man. I think that Izzy holds on to it.
I like Sean Strickland's free speech crusade. Did you hear him at the press conference? He's like, I would like Australia, but you guys don't have free speech. You threw this pregnant lady in jail. Now, I got to admit, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but does anybody really know what Sean Strickland's talking about? The point is that he's out there talking about free speech and having fun, and I'm a fan. Look, Sean Strickland's a fun fight for Israel Adesanya. I think Izzy saw this matchup and went, I like this, you know? And when you got a comfortable, cool, calculated Israel Adesanya, who I don't think has to worry too much about the takedown, like you know, Sean Strickland was talking about it, but he was doing the same thing ahead of that Alex Pereira fight. Alex Pereira, hello, Sean, was the guy to take down. If you were going to show us this jiu-jitsu black belt that you allegedly have, that was the time, Sean, okay? It's a lot harder to get Israel Adesanya down. It's almost disrespectful, honestly, the way some fans talk about it, like it's so easy to get Israel Adesanya down. What the fuck are you guys seeing? I saw Marvin Vettori miss shot after shot on him. I've seen everybody try, and nobody have good success except for the one split decision loss at light heavyweight to Jan Blachowicz. And that's just, he put the Polish belly on him, you know? I feel like Sean Strickland is going to box. And when Sean Strickland boxes, he does well. He uses a little Philly shell. He uses a little toughness. I think he's right that he will get a little bloody. He'll have to take some shots to get in some shots, but he's in against a masterful kickboxer. And I think he understands that. And I think as his legs get kicked up and as this time goes on, Israel Adesanya will slowly run away with this thing. Does Izzy finish him? I think that's totally possible. But I'll go on the safe side and say Izzy dominates him. Maybe 4 out of 5 rounds, could be 5 out of 5 rounds by kicking. His kickboxing, as I think Sean Strickland understands, from what I've heard from him, is just the best in the division. And Sean can't get close to it as far as, you know, Sean calls it the man dance. Izzy's got a point. Adesanya's a better dancer.
Yeah, Adesanya is a better dancer. I'll tell you this too. Even Sean Strickland himself, I believe it was with Brendan Schaub, spoke upon a potential Adesanya matchup pre them actually being matched up and discussed how that reach advantage that Izzy has over him is a very hard thing to overcome, specifically when you have such a skilled technician that knows how to use it. Exactly. Adesanya is going to flow beautifully here, guys. I think this is a perfect matchup for him. The win for Sean Strickland is going to be at the press conference. He's going to be going back and forth and getting under Izzy's skin. In the fight, I think that he's getting silenced.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be confident in the champ here, you know? You got to be confident, especially since he just showed us power too, so Sean's got something to be worried about. It's not like he's only concerned about just a pitter-patter. Apparently, Izzy Adesanya could put your ass out, buddy. So, yeah, I think Strickland has a good showing. I think Strickland's a fun fight for him, but the champ picked this fight, let's be honest. The champ wanted this fight. Israel Adesanya knows he could beat Sean Strickland, and it's a fun one, and you know, gotta kind of root low key for Sean, but come on, man, Israel Adesanya is gonna put him right where he wants him.
Israel Adesanya for the win on my end. He's minus 650 as the favorite to Sean Strickland at plus 475 as a dog. Yes, very wide betting lines between these two. Now, as far as Adesanya's method of victory, I am going to go out in a women call KO. That line sits at plus 115 for the Adesanya KO. It's not the greatest fucking price tag, but I think he can get the win from, you know, minus 650 to plus 115. Adesanya is also the extension parlay piece. I see him stopping Strickland. I think he's going to find that money shot. And we got a question in chat for you, Finch.
Let's do it.
Both of us. Czar picks with the 199 dono. Thank you for that, Czar.
How
about Izzy and his dog accounts on Twitter? Have you seen that, Mike Finch? Do you know what they're talking about?
What?
So
what? I know this idea that Israel Adesanya fucks dogs or something. I've heard Sean Strickland talk about this, but I thought it was more Sean Strickland bananas nonsense.
Well, I don't know, man. Your favorite guy who used to wear the beanie, Guru, he has made multiple videos on it going
to. He took the beanie off.
He took it off.
Changed his name at that point. What the fuck?
He took it off, bro. He's got
the fucking logo. It's the beanie with the beard.
Now he's got the fro, bro.
The fuck?
Yeah. He got the British fro.
Got to change the logo. You got to come on, man.
I don't know.
We're off brand.
I know. I don't know. That's his decision. All I know is my thoughts on it. Adesanya might be into the pet fetish. That might be his thing, but I don't think he's having sexual intercourse with animals, if that's what you're curious about. He just likes maybe dressing his girls up like puppies. You know what I'm
saying? Is this a hot take? You believe Izzy Adesanya has some pet fetish thing going on? You actually believe this?
I think, yeah. I think so. At least for now. Yeah, I see there's evidence on it, so I'll take yes.
There's that. Okay. All right. See, I just haven't seen it, folks. You guys would have to show me what's up. I don't know that to be the case. I remember him making the jokes about the anime porn, Sean Strickland joking around. Hey, this dork. I mean, Sean Strickland makes fun of Adesanya well. The nail polish.
Yeah.
He shits on him about being a man. The man dance. Israel Adesanya says he could dance. Maybe Sean Strickland tries to man him up. Say, yeah, but I'm more of a man. So I think Sean Strickland is funny, at least. But as far as like actually uncovering something here, you're going to have to send me this.
All right, listen, I'll have to send you it after the video, man. After this, I'll have to send you the link.
All right.
Hell of a main event. Hell of a fucking random conversation with Adesanya's pet fetish. I appreciate the question in chat.
Line,
I like it. I like it, man. I like it.
Fuck.
It's great. It's great. I'm excited though, Mike. You know why? Because we're about to get into a great segment. Here in the main event, we're both on Adesanya. I thought that was rather obvious for the people watching. But the notorious lock of the night section is what's coming up next. So without further ado, lock of the night. UFC 293 lock of the night. If you guys have been watching the channel, earlier in the day, I dropped this week's best MMA bets because that's the normal Wednesday show. And this is normally Monday. So it spoiled the lock for some, but I know everybody hasn't seen it. I'll still let Finch go first, unless you want me to tell you mine first, Finch, since the people know. You want me to drop it?
Go ahead, brother.
My lock is Carlos Ulberg. I believe he's going to get the knockout. I think that
I like it.
It's happening. Like at the end of the day, it's a fight that I'm confident winning. It's not the greatest close money tag, but I think he's going to look like a 5-1 favorite out there. He's minus 260 for the money line. And then if you're looking at the knockout prop, which I think is quite likely, minus 140, probably gets the KO, a little bit wide on the money line, but the guy that I'm riding with, I feel confident in him, and I got to go Carlos Black Jeg Ulberg as this week's lock.
Nice, man. Look, Carlos Ulberg's a great lock. I think maybe a little less confidence, but the odds are too good on it. You got to give me Tyson Pedro in Australia. I think Tyson Pedro does get it done here. Will it be a knockout? Will it not? Who cares? Just money line it. You guys will get good odds on that. And, I think Carlos Ulberg's probably more of a lock, but Tyson Pedro's probably going to win. And it's pretty surprising that the odds makers don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Pedro wins. I think that's a good lock. And obviously, Mike, you got a little heat coming into it in the lock section, hitting it last week with Benoit Saint Denis. For me, I'm looking for the 4-peat. I'm trying to get like Mike Finch on the parlays. So let's see, Mike. We're about to get to the
4-peat's nice. I like 4-peat.
4-peat's nice. I'm excited. 4-peat lock. I'm Mr. Lockman now. So let's get it though, bro. The parlay section up next. I'll expect Finch has got his king's crown on. So let's jump to it.
All the competition that try to compete, stand back, watch the bomb drop.
Parlay time. Mike Finch, are you singing it?
Oh, man, you think I've got this thing tuned? I said I got a guitar sent to me from Illinois to Huntington Beach for my birthday. I don't know how to play it.
All right, we'll expect it some point in the next couple months.
But parlay time for sure. Parlay time for sure, because the crown came back, folks.
The king is here. The king is here. Mike Finch, you are on the parlay roll. You are the king of the parlays right now. And let's keep that heat going. So what do we got this week, Finch, man?
Let's go, brother. I mean, 8 in a row has been nice. You guys are getting good odds on these two. Last week was plus money, just plus 105. Come on, folks. Get your money. It was Anj Lusa, Farad Basharat. In hindsight, doesn't that look really nice? They always do. I'm giving it to you guys beforehand. So here's this week's, man. I think Carlos Ulberg, total lock. I think Israel Adesanya, total lock. And if you want to sweeten it up, in order to get up there with some nice odds, I think there's a 90% chance Charlie Radtke ragdolls Blood Diamond. And so if you put them together, that's 3. Charlie Radtke, Carlos Ulberg, Israel Adesanya. They're all confident for me. I think they're coming away with it.
Mike, that's a real good tag. Mike Finch's parlay has got a plus 110 line on it. Let's go, Mike Finch. I like it. Plus 110 for the trifecta. I think Finch is bringing the heat this week. I want to bring you something too. I think that I have to add in the likelihood of a Jamie Mullarkey win, and I'm going to bring up a side of Manel Kape. Now that's minus 133 for those two. So I do want to sweeten it up, but I'm going to stick to my safety guns and I'm going to say plus 140 Carlos Ulberg in it. But then as you're sitting there, you're like, I kind of got to add Adesanya. So it's plus 194 if you got Mullarkey, Kape, Ulberg, and Adesanya. Something's telling me though, 2-3 fighters max is better. So if I was to remove anybody, I'd probably first go towards removing Mullarkey and I'd go Kape, Ulberg, Adesanya. So let's, ride with that as the safer 3. And then obviously I take out the side of Manel Kape. I got minus 148 for Ulberg, Adesanya, which I also think is a high likelihood of hitting.
That might be a good stab too, guys.
That's the safety.
People are always chasing odds, but early on in Moneyline, we had one of the bookies himself on, and he was saying, man, I think the parlays, the shots that hit best are like 2 or 3 parlays that you're confident in. That's what I've been doing all summer, and that's how I've been able to hit these parlays. AJ's been doing it with his locks more too. We were just talking about it before we went live. Instead of going for the lock with the sweetest odds always, go with your confident picks. I think that's a clear recipe that people get away from when we start looking at odds and stuff. If you remember the first, 6 months we did this show, I would always tell you, I don't want to see the odds. I don't want to know because it influences you, right? You rather just pick them. And if I'm looking at this piece of paper, instincts are Ulberg, instincts are Adesanya. So those look nice. And I knew I was going to see Manel Kape. I know you, AJ.
Yeah. Listen, Kape, Adesanya, Ulberg is my trifecta that I like. I'll say that's the official trifecta. I added in Mullarkey, but I'm getting overzealous. That's an extension to the play. And then obviously just Adesanya, Ulberg, the lock and a high confidence call I'm feeling good about. But if you want to fade the lock, you go Kape, Adesanya. Won't be great plus money, but likelihood of success is it's going to end up heavy hitting. At the end of the day, we're looking to get W's here. Mike, we got a question in the chat. Somebody asked about JDM versus Kevin Holland. You have an early thought on that one? That's a really interesting matchup.
Wow, that's a fun one, man. Interesting. My initial thought is, the UFC would set JDM up with a striker after that shit. Yeah. Whoa, JDM getting taken down by Angelusa, getting taken down by that absolute beast. I don't even remember the name.
Now I got to look it up, man.
Ran over
Basil Hafez.
Basil Hafez. Holy shit, is Basil Hafez strong. So now he's in a striker matchup. My prediction is that's a dope fight. Who doesn't want to see that fight? Would you not want to be live to see Holland go toe-to-toe with JDM? I think it's boxing skill. It's like this bob and weave, bend your knees, make the shots glance off your forehead, not hit you in the chin, respond with combinations versus just sniper shots from Kevin Holland. Range differences. I think JDM can wear on him a little more, have better moments than Holland. Holland's like one shot, one cross, one kick. Holland's pretty dangerous with the submissions. Bro, that's a fun fight.
That is a fun fight. I look forward to it, man. Tricky call. Oh, fuck. I don't even really have an early lean. I want to sit back and really think about it for fucking some long periods of time, bro. But I don't know. Early lean is like something's whispering to me that JDM could pull it off against a Holland, but that length, early lean, don't fucking tail it. I'll say Holland just for now, but it might flip. I don't even have an early lean, really. Nick Couture, $5 dono, my man. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Nick.
Play Tafa, Adesanya, Haqparast, Radtke. I personally think that's going to hit. I know Mike Finch, though, he's kind of feeling like Austen Lane's a threat in that fight.
I'm thinking Austen Lane's a threat, and even Haqparast. I didn't like the odds, but I respect you guys parlaying him up. I could see why you're doing it, Personally, swiped left on that one. But, good luck, and that might balance it out. Sometimes I'll put a bet down, I'll put like my parlay down, let's say, and then I want to throw another bet down that doesn't have those names in it, maybe a second parlay in case of emergency. So yeah, you could look at that. I just think those are potentially competitive fights.
Yeah, agree. I like the call. Thank you, Nick, for the $5.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you.
Finch, I'm glad we got to do it, even though
on a Wednesday, bro.
Special edition.
Wednesday, buddy.
Yeah, let's go. We do bare knuckle Wednesdays, right? Whenever we got
fair
those
enough.
shows.
Actually, solid point. We pre-record bare knuckle once a month on a Wednesday, so fair enough. Moneyline on Wednesday, it's a first.
Yeah, first ever Wednesday money line. We'll be back to Mondays next week. The Schlua content doesn't stop. If you haven't already seen this week's Best of MMA Bets, it's my most recently dropped video. And then tomorrow I got the late night live. I look forward to chatting it up with all you savages there and answering everybody in the chat, because obviously I see people complaining, bro, you're not answering us. Me and Mike are going back and forth on this one. It's very hard to also answer every chat question too. But we appreciate you all a fuck ton.
Hell yeah.
Much love to the people in the chat. You guys are tremendous. And Mike, appreciate you, bro. I'm glad we made it happen, even if it's, a Wednesday instead of a Monday this week.
Hey, man, I had to turn 31, folks. I had to kick it with wifey. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love. AJ, I'll always drop into the live to bother you guys a little bit. Happy betting. Let's get 9 parlays in a row. Let's do this shit. And maybe I got to hop on and get AJ a Tuivasa if we see a tie KO. Let's check it out.
Let's see. Much love, people. Smash those likes. If you're new, subscribe and turn the post notifications on. Don't just put them on personalized. Put them on all so you don't miss a video, as I got daily content coming out. And also give Mike Finch a subscription at Mike Finch. And then it's the Mike Finch Show on YouTube. Check our boy out.
Hell yeah. Just had a little podcast last week. I talked to Gogo Slaveski, the newest BKFC champ. He came to hang out a little bit. I probably should have Charlie on after this fight, man. It'd be cool to get Radtke on. I've had him on before. So, shout out Charlie Radtke. Shout out Chepe Mariscal. Rooting for these guys.
Let's go. I like it, bro. Much love, everyone. We appreciate you. We hope you guys enjoyed an early Wednesday evening show. Much love. And we will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.